Hey guys, here we are at 12th part of the story. Weakened to their breaking point, the allied shinobi forces have little chance of survival. The Jubi had fired a colossal Bijudama in their direction. The former Hokage are too busy trying to save them to focus on Kurama and the rest of the Biju's final plan of action. We will see as Naruto and Sakura go back in time to prevent disaster. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe button. Now, let's jump right in. Bright and early in the morning, Naruto was sitting on a comfortable lounge chair sipping a cup of hot chocolate. In front of the chair was a large round table. Around the table were other chairs, all of which were occupied. Directly on his left was Kirabai and on his right was Zabuza. Across from him was Ii. On Ii's right was Yugito and on Ii's left was Samui, who looked a bit uncomfortable. After what felt like hours, Naruto finally finished his cup of hot chocolate and placed the cup on the table with a soft clang. Samui jumped at the noise. The first thing I wish to discuss is the threat of Akatsuki. Ii looked confused while B and Yugito tensed at the statement. What do you mean Naruto Dono? I thought that Akatsuki was just a mercenary organization formed by S-rank Nukenin from various villages. They don't possess any significant threat to any of the major villages. Then you are woefully misinformed. In fact, all the villages are misinformed. I have come across an interesting tidbit of intelligence on them and their primary goals, Natuto said as Yugito growled while B had a dark look on his face. He looked at the two with a wary expression as he realized that Naruto had already informed them the moment they met. Before he could comment, Naruto continued, their goals are far from benign. I can understand gathering together into a group as a survival tactic, but their main goal is to capture the 9 Biju and then seal them into the Geto Mazo, the husk of the Jubi. What is this Jubi, Naruto Dono? He asked taking a shaking breath. I am sure that you know about the Rikudo Sennin. He nodded as Naruto continued, the Jubi is the demonic godlike entity that the Rikudo Sennin and his brother Hamura defeated. Hagoromo Senpai sealed the beast into himself, becoming the first Jinchuriki. On his deathbed, Hagoromo Senpai used his immense powers to separate the Jubi into 9 entities. We know them as the Biju. Samui, Zabuza and Ii gasped at the revelation before he commented, how do you know so much about the Rikudo Sennin and his history? Nearly all of it is lost to time. Naruto chuckled, you forget that my Shinjutsu sensei also taught Hagoromo Senpai and was present during the battle with the Jubi and at the creation of the Biju. Gamamaru sensei is, in fact the eldest living being in existence. He nodded dumbly before saying, anyway, back to the matter with the Akatsuki. I can understand that they are targeting the Biju, but I doubt they have the guts, or the power to attack one of the major villages. Naruto just shook his head before saying, one of them has the Rinnegan. Another is Uchiha Itachi. Then there is another Uchiha who goes by the name of Madara and was the one involved with the Kyuubi attack 13 years ago at Konoha. Then there are Hoshigaki Kisame, Mad Bomber Deidara, Kakuzu of the Jung and Akasuna no Sasori. Orochimaru was a former member as well. Everyone was gaping at the information, even Kirabai, who had survived Akatsuki's attempts to capture him. You say they don't have the guts to attack one of the major villages, I call bullshit. They have already done it. Besides, the one calling himself Madara had Yagura under a powerful Sharingan Genjutsu as well, and was controlling Kiri during all of Yagura reign. The one with the Rinnegan, though haven't really moved yet, but he was the one who defeated Hanzo the Salamander, single-handedly as well. It is my belief and that of Gamamaru sensei that Uzumaki Nagato can single-handedly destroy any of the villages without even trying. The threat of Akatsuki is far more real than you think. If it comes to a fight between me and Akatsuki, I am unsure that I would be able to defeat all of them before the collateral damage becomes too much. Everyone looked at Naruto with scared expressions. Naruto, the one being regarded as another god of shinobi, was not confident that he would be able to take on Akatsuki alone, but then again, he did say that was only because he was more concerned with the collateral damage the battle would cause. What do you propose we do? Prepare for the inevitable war that is coming. All of our nations need to learn to set aside our differences and work together. Only by working together can we hope to succeed. As for Akatsuki, I have already taken steps to minimize their capabilities. I was able to use a Uzumaki Kenjutsu seal to subvert the loyalty of one of their members. Itachi is not really a traitor, just deep undercover and will be recalled soon. The Rinnegan wielder, Nagato, should side with us. I have already approached him, and hope that he will have a favorable response to my proposal, as he is an Uzumaki. The danger will be the one calling himself Madara. He is the true mastermind behind their goals. Are you sure that this Nagato will side with his family? If he doesn't, then I will have no choice but to eliminate him as a traitor to the clan, but I doubt it will come to that. He only wishes for peace, but Madara has been twisting Nagato's desires to his own advantage. I believe that Nagato can be brought back to the light. He was a student of Jiraiya after all. If I succeed, he will be the greatest ally we will have against Akatsuki, and if I fail to prevent the resurrection of the Jubi, the monster itself. Nodded, but Yugito spoke up. How sure are you that Nagato can be turned? 80% sure that Nagato will do what is right. Plus, his loyalty should be to his family. It is something that is ingrained in our blood. Family comes first. Yugito nodded as Naruto turned to and said, now, the matter of the alliance and the marriage. You have offered me the choice between these two lovely ladies. Why the hell do you wish me to die so badly? Zabuza and Kirabai chuckled at Naruto's sudden outburst, while Yugito and Samui looked confused before understanding dawned on them, causing them to smile. He asked with confusion, what do you mean, Naruto Dono? I don't wish you to die. It would be counterproductive to forming an alliance then. You don't understand the position you place me in? I am sure that they already know that the one I choose will be one of my many wives. As demanded by the Royal CRA, out of which, 2 are confirmed, and I believe that Shion will accept the contract as well. Do you know what all my girls will do to me if I pick one of them and not the other? What justification would I use? Yo, you can always choose one and let the other marry a friend, yo. What? Naruto exclaimed before he said, that's quite the good idea. Instead of you having to choose, let the girls decide. I was planning on sending a marriage alliance to Konoha as well, so a prominent clan heir can marry one girl and you the other. Samui looked like she would rebel, but Yugito looked intrigued. Raikage-sama, no matter what, both of us are going to be in political marriages, so I think that is a good idea that we get to choose our future husband. I am not averse to marrying Naruto-sama, but from what I see of Naruto-sama's personality, Samui would be a poor choice, with her cold behavior, especially since she tends to get irritated with jokes. I mean no offense, Samui, but you know that what I say is true. Besides, I think that I would be a better match as we have common ground between us. Everyone nodded, though Naruto picked up a bit of jealousy from Samui for a second before affection towards Yugito overshadowed it. For the first time, Samui spoke up, I think that Yugito-ni is right. I would be a poor match, and I thank you for allowing me to choose my husband. He patted Samui on the head before addressing Naruto. Who would you recommend amongst the clan heirs of Konoha as a good groom for Samui, Naruto Dono? Naruto thought for a moment before saying, the only possible candidates I would recommend would be Uchiha Sasuke and Nara Shikamaru, though if you choose Sasuke, you should know that he is also under the CRA and will need to take multiple wives. Thank you for the information, Naruto-sama. When I go to Konoha for the Chunin exams, I will endeavor to get to know both so that I can make my choice. Speaking of the Chunin exams, we have intel that Orochimaru and his newly founded Otogakure plans to invade Konoha during the finals, so I would advise that you bring the Kirabai with you, Naruto said with B nodding in agreement. Yo, what about an exhibition match, bro? B said with an eager expression on his face. I don't think Konoha would allow you and Naruto to have a full-out exhibition match, B. No one wants to see two Bijou battle it out in their village. E growled out at B only for Naruto to chuckle and comment, what about we don't use Bijou mode, but use everything else? And get pulverized by Senjutsu? Hell no, Kirabai said with a shiver. Then what about the AB combo versus the Son of the Yellow Flash? I promise to only use Ninshu and Fuinjutsu. Need to keep up my stamina for the war with Otto. Then B will only be using the version 2 cloak and Nobai-Judama. It will be like facing against your father again. Only this time, it will be for a friendly spar. You can use the Hiraishin, right? I can, but prefer to use a new teleportation technique I am developing from an older supplemental seal the Kagura Shigan users from my clan used to move about quickly. I think that the match against you both would be the best time to reveal this technique. E and B grinned at the prospect of facing off against Naruto using teleportation techniques. It would be a thrill to battle someone that fast again. Naruto cleared his throat and said, the treaty documents are sound, and I will sign them the day you arrive at Konoha. We can have a celebration, and Mocha-Oba-sama won't have any pretext to complain. Mocha-sama does hate parties, doesn't she? Zabuza said with a chuckle. Not exactly, she just doesn't like us throwing parties without a proper reason. A party is due anyways. You can stay with me at the Uzu compound for your stay. In fact, I insist. It would be an honor, Naruto Dono. He said with a nod. Now before we end this meeting, I need to inform you that we shall need to head out tomorrow morning. I was chosen as one of the planners for the Chunin exams and need to personally be in Konoha a week before it starts. I can understand the responsibility, Naruto Dono. May I suggest that Team Kirabai heads out with you, led by Yugito? It would give both girls more time to get to know you and for Samui to get better acquainted with her prospective husband? I have no problems with that. But first, Yugito. I know that you are choosing me out of obligation, but if you truly don't want to marry me, I will still go ahead with the alliance, just with the marriage clause voided. I am sure that I can convince the Hokage and Hideyoshi Jiji to the same deal for Samui. Yugito and Samui looked startled at the statement, but he chuckled and said, "Honorable of you, Naruto Dono, but I hope that the marriages go through. A stronger bond is better, no?" Naruto nodded before standing up with Zabuza following his example. "Thank you for your time, Itono. B. Yugito, I would like it if would come to the joint mindscape for a meeting between our Bijou and us this evening." With his piece said, Naruto and Zabuza vanished in a flash of yellow. Their destination, Shion. It was late in the evening when Kirabai and Yugito started meditating. After a few moments, they appeared in place, standing at the feet of their respective Bijou. Looking around, they saw that nearly all of the Bijou were present, only Shukaku, the Ichibi, was missing. All the respective Jinchuriki were present as well. "You know one thing, why the hell did it take so long for me to get my future memories?" Fu groused out in annoyance as all her fellow Jinchuriki and their Bijou chuckled at the girl's expense. Chomei sighed before saying, "Fu, the only reason it took so long for you to get your memories was because you weren't as synchronized with me as the others are with their Bijou. Naruto-kun, just ignore my Jinchuriki and start the meeting." Fu huffed as Naruto nodded. "As you know, I have already made preparations to handle the Akatsuki situation. You all know how dangerous they are, and the kind of damage their Tsuki no Mi plan could do. Out of all of us, only I and B, with our Bijou, have faced the wrath of the Jubi. I will now share my memories of the beast." With his piece said, Naruto concentrated on the last memories he had of the future and then using Ninshu, transferred the memory to his fellow Jinchuriki. An uncomfortable silence filled the area, as the other Jinchuriki processed the horrifying memories. After an inordinate amount of time, Yagura was the first to speak. "We cannot allow such a demon to be resurrected. I propose we start our own group to oppose the Akatsuki. We hunt the bastards down in pairs. Garanosabaku and Shukaku will be joining us soon. One of us won't have a partner in such a case," Yugito said with a frown. "Naruto-sama is the strongest of us. I will bet my right arm that he can easily defeat a pair of Akatsuki without even using Kurama's power," Han said, only for B to counter him. "While Naruto-sama is powerful, no doubt about it, he is still vulnerable to being overwhelmed. Besides, some of the members Akatsuki are hidden allies. Naruto-sama, if you would please elaborate." "First of all, outside formal occasions, I don't subscribe to formalities. All of you can call me whatever you want, though I would prefer something personal. After all, we are connected by the bond of Jinchuriki. Now, Uchiha Itachi is actually a spy in Akatsuki. Other than that, I believe that I can get to Pain and have him realize the mistakes he is making before it is too late." Naruto raised a hand to forestall Utakata's complaint. "I know that he was the one to take you down last time, Utakata, but we must not allow the non-existent future to make judgments for us. Not to mention that Naruto defeated Pain with only his basic Senjutsus last time before making the cripple have a change of heart. Pain had revived all the lives lost when Akatsuki invaded Konoha at the cost of his own life. Thank you, Kurama. Anyway, we need Pain alive. His death will allow Obito to easily get the Rinnegan. We must prevent that scenario at all costs." "I agree. A dojutsu like the Rinnegan shouldn't fall into the hands of the wicked, and this Obito seems to be as wicked as they come," Yagura agreed, with the rest of the Jinchuriki and all the Bijou nodding in agreement. Silence reigned for a few moments before B asked, "When will Shukaku and Kazekage-sama be joining us?" "He should be in Konoha by the end of the week. I will remind him and Shukaku before calling a meeting. Now before we leave, Goku, I have been wondering. Do you think it possible for you to learn earthbending? You are the only one other than Shukaku who has a humanoid body to help the learning progress." Goku thought for a moment before saying, "I will see what I come up with. Not like I have much to do anyways. It will be a good project to work on." Naruto nodded before addressing everyone, "Then wait for my signal. We will have the final member with us then. Good night everyone, and make sure to keep an eye out for suspicious characters in your own villages. Akasuna no Sasori has quite the number of informants. Before we go, I have a warning. Be careful Naruto-sama, as it seems that the Tsuchikage wishes to form an alliance with you through marriage. Please tell me that it isn't who I think it is. Roshi. Naruto asked with a groan. If his suspicions were correct, then he would probably have a new fiancée. One who was both highly competitive and highly volatile. The worst thing was that he wouldn't even be able to reject the marriage without souring the already tentative relationship between Iwa and Konoha and her allies. If it is Kurotsuchi you are thinking about, then I am sorry to say that you were correct in your assumption. Don't worry Naruto-sama. The girl may be rough on the outside, she is a great big softie on the inside, though I would say that she is a tsundere at heart. Yu-Gi-To, Fu and their bijou started giggling at the predicament Naruto found himself in. After calming down, Yu-Gi-To asked with a teasing tone, "Oh my, it seems that you are collecting quite the harem Naruto-kun." Naruto blushed in embarrassment before quickly offering a thanks to Roshi before disappearing from the joint mindscape. As Kurama was slowly fading away, the old fox left with a single warning. Be careful not to tease him too much. You won't like the consequences, much like the Hyuga clan found out. That too while Naruto was an academy student. I heard that he was a notorious prankster and was known to be able to infiltrate and prank Hanbu HQ, but I thought everyone was pulling my leg. Fu commented before bidding her farewell and leaving with Chomei. Outside the main gates of Konoha, was a large clearing, perfectly visible from the gates. As Kotetsu and Izuma watched from the gatehouse, playing cards, a massive group suddenly appeared out of thin air. Usually such an event would have caused the two Eternal Chunin gate guards to be alarmed, were it not for the fact that nearly all of the members of the arriving group were covered in bubbling red chakra cloaks, with the sole exception of one who was instantly recognizable by the two. In front of the group was Naruto engulfed in a golden chakra cloak. "Yo Naruto-sama. Had a good trip?" Kotetsu asked, placing his hand of cards down on the table. "Quite well Kotetsu. My companions from Kumo are here for both the Chunin exams and diplomatic reasons, so they will be residing in the Uzumaki compound," Naruto said as Kotetsu and Izumo nodded before. The blonde Jinchuriki addressed his group. "Zabuza, please escort everyone to the compound while I take Shien, Yu-Gi-To and Samui to meet with Hokage Ono." "Right away Naruto-sama. Alright Gakus, get logged in and follow me." "Yes, that means you Karen." "Why does Naruto-kun get to bypass the login and not me?" Karen complained only for Naruto to remark, "Because you don't have free travel rights. All done girls?" "Hi." All three aforementioned girls nodded as Yu-Gi-To finished signing into the Konoha visitor directory, all three of them still having the chakra cloaks around them. Naruto nodded to the gate guards before he and the three girls vanished into thin air. "You are to take over as Hokage soon, Naruto-kun. So I believe that it is your prerogative to decide it, if you wish to accept Raikage Dono's proposal or not." "Ni Samui-chan, I don't mean to be insulting, but my time as Hokage is nearly up. I would advise you to get acquainted with the prospects and let Naruto-kun know. He will be the one to make the final decision." Samui and Yu-Gi-To were caught off guard at the admission from the old Hokage, but the younger of the pair bowed and said, "It is what I would prefer Hokage-sama. Until the Chunin exams start, I will endeavor to get acquainted with both prospects before letting Naruto-sama know of my decision." Hiruzen nodded before saying, "Please keep the information of my retirement to yourselves. The official announcement will occur during the final stage of the Chunin exams." "Of course Hokage-sama. We will keep your confidence," Yu-Gi-To said for both herself and her cousin. "Good, now you two are dismissed. Nico, please escort them to the Uzumaki compound." "At once Hokage-sama," Nico said dropping down from the ceiling. After the two Kumo-kunoichi were gone, Hiruzen turned to Shien with a smile on his face. "It is a pleasure to have you here Shienheim. Please make yourself at home in my beautiful village." Shien bowed in respect as she replied with a smile, "It is a pleasure to be here Hokage-sama. If I may be so bold, may I ask why you wish to retire so soon?" "Not at all Shienheim. I am just feeling my age these days. With what skills Naruto-kun and his students are displaying, I have come to the conclusion that my time has long since passed. It is time again to pass the torch to the next generation. If you have any questions about the history of Konoha, please don't hesitate to come to me. It would be nice to pass on my knowledge to the next generation, and it will give this old man something to do in his retirement, other than wasting away. I doubt you of all people would waste away Gigi. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow at the finalizing session. Don't overwork yourself." Hiruzen saw the teasing smile on Naruto's face and chuckled as he commented, "With the shadow clones, I have much more time to rest than before Naruto-kun. You go and introduce your new fiancé to the rest." Oh, and Hinata-chan and her team will be back from Nami tomorrow. Naruto raised an eyebrow and asked, what were they doing in Nami? A simple tracking mission. It seems that some remnants of Gado's forces were kidnapping young women. From the preliminary reports, it seems that Hinata-chan didn't take too kindly to that, neither did Kiba-kun. Kurenai states that the two of them massacred the remnants without even blinking. You have done a good job training her, Naruto-kun. Hinata-chan is now a perfect kunoichi but still has her kindness. Naruto nodded before offering his arm to Shion and leading the priestess of Oni no Kuni through a tour of Konoha on their way to the Uzumaki compound. The next morning, all the Jonin and Dokubutsu Jonin of Konoha were assembled in a large meeting hall. At the end of the hall, Hiruzen sat behind a large wooden table with Iruka and Naruto. Interestingly, Kakashi was there on time, causing many of the assembled Jonin to look at the masked man in irrational fear. Alright, now that everyone is here, we can finally begin. Now those Jonin with Shinon teams, you have my permission to start nomination of your teams, Hiruzen said, which was soon followed by many of the Konoha Jonin nominating their teams. Finally, the time came when the Jonin of the four most prominent Shinon teams moved forward. I, Sarutobi Asuma, sensei of Team 10 consisting of Yamanaka Ino, Nara Shikamaru, and Akimichi Ichoji, nominate my team for the Chunin exams. Hiruzen nodded as Naruto said, noted. Next. I, Mito Gai, sensei of Team 9 consisting of Higurashi Tenten, Rock Lee, and Hyuga Neji, nominate my team for the Chunin exams. Noted. Next. I, Yuhi Kurenai, sensei of Team 8 consisting of Hyuga Hinata, Inuzuka Kiba, and Aburame Shino, nominate my team for the Chunin exams. Noted. Next. I, Hatake Kakashi, sensei of Team 7 consisting of Uchiha Sasuke, Sarutobi Konohamaru, and Sai, nominate my team for the Chunin exams. Duly noted. Next. After waiting for a few minutes, Naruto said, very well. It seems that the nominations are over. Now, as all of you know, this Chunin exams are going to be much different from previous ones on the account that all the major villages will be sending teams to this one. Everyone nodded as Hiruzen continued from where Naruto ended. Make sure to alert your teams for possible ulterior motives, though I doubt that there will be any this time. The next thing is that Orochimaru has created a hidden village called Otogakur. Keep an eye on all Oto shinobi in Konoha. As Hokage Dono said, Oto is to watch out for, but I have reliable intelligence that the Kazekage has sided with Orochimaru and will be leading an assault without the permission of his daimyo. But fear not, most of the Suna shinobi are only following Raza out of fear and not loyalty. I have a feeling that if I can turn their Jinchuriki to our side, the whole bulk of the Suna forces will side with us. Not to mention that the threat of Naruto's personal retaliation against Suna. Sakura commented, causing all the gathered Jonin and Dokubutsu Jonin to nod in agreement with the pink-haired medic. Now that all of you are warned, we shall wait for a few more people to join us for an announcement. What announcement, Hokage-sama? Kurenai asked with a confused frown. You will have to wait a bit longer, Kurenai-chan. Or not, Hiruzen said with a smile as the door to the massive hall opened. From the open doors, the shinobi clan heads walked in with the Anbu commander and the fire daimyo with his bodyguards. Make the announcement, Hiruzen. I need to be back in the capital by sundown, Hideyoshi said, only for Naruto to chuckle and say, no need to worry about that, Hideyoshi Jiji. I will have you back at the capital in a flash. Unfortunately, I will have to decline, Naruto-kun. I have to meet up with one of the governors a few miles south of here before returning home. Naruto nodded as Hiruzen cleared his throat before saying, I shall be completely stepping down after the Chunin exams. A cacophony of noise erupted from the gathered Jonin and Dokubutsu Jonin before Naruto spiked his chakra, causing the shinobi and kunoichi to quickly settle down, with a few even feeling a bit faint. Hiruzen nodded to Naruto before addressing the crowd. Now that you all have voiced your dissent, I will now let my nomination for Hokage be known. Quiet muttering filled the room as everyone discussed the possible candidates, many coming to the conclusion that only Naruto or one of the two Sannin will be chosen. Don't you dare name me sensei, Tsunade said with a bit of a joking tone in her voice. Why not, Tsunade? You would make a fine Hokage. Just think of the amount of sake you can drink while trying to forget the burdens of being a leader. Tsunade blushed at the subtle hint at her bad habit, but before she could comment, Hiruzen continued, luckily, neither you nor Jiraiya are the candidates. I, Sarutobi Hiruzen, Sundaime Hokage of Konoha, hereby nominate Uzumaki Naruto as the Godime Hokage. I, Hideyoshi, the daimyo of Hinokuni, approved the nomination. Let the Jonin vote commence, Hideyoshi declared as Iruka stood up. With an emotionless face, the Chunin instructor called out, "Those in favor of Uzumaki Naruto being the next Hokage?" Nearly everyone raised their hands. Iruka quickly counted the number of votes before noting it down. "Alright, everyone against?" Only Sakura raised her hand. Iruka noted it down as Hideyoshi asked, "May I ask why you would vote against your own friend and mentor?" "Of course, Daimyo-sama. I just think that it would be better if Naruto was out in the field instead of being cooped up in an office. His presence as an active ninja of Konoha is quite the boon." Duly noted, and I had raised the same question with Hiruzen and Naruto-kun in private. They have given me a favorable answer. Will you please explain, Naruto-kun? Of course. Sakura, I will have a blood clone handling the administrative duties while I will be out in the field. If I am needed to personally attend to something, I can be here in a flash, as you know. I think that answers your query? Sakura nodded before saying, "Then I withdraw my vote and cast it in favor of him becoming Hokage." Iruka nodded as he changed the vote tally before handing it over to Hiruzen, who looked over the paper before announcing, "By a unanimous vote, Uzumaki Naruto is to be the Godime Hokage of Konoha. He shall take over the day after the Chunin exams finals. Until then, all strategic and military functions of the office of Hokage will be handled by Naruto while I shall handle economic and administrative functions. Any dissenters?" Everyone waited for any dissent, but after it was clear that there were none, Hiruzen declared, "There will be a strategic meeting tomorrow at dawn. All elite Jonin, the Onwa commander and the shinobi counselors are to be present. Also, this vote is to remain a S-rank secret until further notice." Now dismissed. Many of the Jonin and Dokubetsu Jonin congratulated Naruto before they left, leaving behind only Tsunade, Sakura, Shizune, the sensei of the Konoha 12 and Anko. Hideyoshi, Hiruzen and Iruka quickly leaving the room. "Anko, get ready to meet your teacher. With the seal removed and your improved skills, I expect that you will be able to hold your own against the snake," Naruto said, causing a feral grin to appear on Anko's face. "Oh, I am sure that me and Sensei will have quite the bit of fun, Naruto-kun. Just point me in his direction and stand back. Also, how are the preparations for the second phase coming along?" Naruto asked, causing Anko to giggle and say, "With the amount of seal-based traps you and your clan has supplied us with, I can already taste the fresh blood." "Down, girl. Don't traumatize the visiting or even our own Jinan," Kurenai said, smacking the snake mistress in the back of her head. "Mo. You're so mean, Nai-chan. I was just planning to view some of the festivities." "Congratulations, Naruto. I speak for all of us when I say that the post couldn't be given to a better candidate," Asuma said, with Guy, Kakashi, Kurinia and Anko nodding in agreement. "Get back here, you damn brat!" Karen screamed as she chased Konohamaru down the main road of Konoha. Beside her, her two teammates were running as well, both sporting raging expressions on their faces. All three had orange paint splattering their favorite dresses. "Come back here, Konohamaru. I promise it won't hurt much." Hakuku'd as she threw a couple of ice senbon at Konohamaru, who rolled to the left to dodge them, hoping that none of the icy needles would touch him, as Haku was making quite the name for herself in being a senbon expert. Swearin was quiet, but the cloud of red crystal dust floating around the blue-haired girl as a murderous expression graced her normally peaceful face. With a simple wave of her hand, the crystal dust coalesced into 5-pointed crimson crystal shuriken before flying towards the fleeing Sarutobi. Twisting around, Konohamaru focused in between the flying shuriken and caused an explosion to occur using judicious use of combustion bending. The explosion caused the crystal shuriken to shatter before disintegrating into red dust and flowing back to join Swearin's floating cloud. As Konohamaru was finishing the twist, he collided with someone, throwing both of them to the ground. A flash of yellow and lavender was all Konohamaru was able to discern before he was hoisted off the person he collided with. As he was pulled back, he realized that he had collided with a kunoichi from Suna, carrying a massive Taisen on her back and with her blonde hair was hanging down her body from torn ribbons. "You punk. How dare you run into my sister?" Konohamaru turned to see a boy of about 14, wearing a catsuit and war paint on his face, was holding him up, with a murderous expression on his face. "Kankuro, put him down. We aren't here to cause trouble," the kunoichi said, standing up before she pulled out ninja wire from her tools pack and used that to quickly tie her hair back into 4 ponytails. "I am sure that he didn't mean to run into me. That doesn't excuse his actions, Tamari. He hasn't even apologized to you yet." Before Tamari could even comment, she felt chains wrap around her. Looking down, She saw that the chains were made of yellow chakra. Across from her, Kankuro felt cold wet needlepoints touch his throat while glittering dust was wrapped around his arms, slowly crushing them. I would advise you to drop him, Suna-san. You don't want to cause an international incident, do you? After all, attacking the Hokage's grandson without provocation is grounds for the declaration of war. A cold voice said, causing a shiver to run down Kankuro's spine. Both Kankuro and Temari stared at the source of the voice and saw a haze slowly lifting, revealing a black-haired girl holding senbone made of ice to Kankuro's throat. Turning her head, Temari saw that the chains were originating from a red-haired, red-eyed girl. A final, blue-haired girl was standing off to the side with more glittering dust floating around her. All three were sporting Hitai-8, that formed the lectures her father had given herself and her siblings. She recognized as Uzu Hitai-8. Then she realized that the boy was also wearing a Hitai-8, the one of Konoha. Temari gulped in realization that she and Kankuro were both outnumbered and outmatched, especially with the amount of skill the three Uzu Kunoichi displayed in capturing them. Right then, the boy Kankuro was holding broke down into pebbles as the boy appeared beside her with his hands engulfed in flames, pointing it towards Kankuro. Temari was about to speak, in an attempt to defuse the volatile situation, when a sudden pressure fell on her shoulders. Looking up, she saw that all of them were affected. A sudden sound drew her attention to the nearby rooftop and saw the boy she identified as Uzumaki Naruto standing there with an Uchiha from the Sharingan swirling in his eyes and another boy with a glob of ink floating around his head. Temari paled at the realization of the precarious situation she and Kankuro found themselves in, just because of Kankuro's ego. "Stand down," Naruto bellowed in a tone full of authority. The Uzu Kunoichi quickly withdrew a few paces back and the boy hastily put out the flames before jumping up to stand beside Naruto and the two boys. "Now, that no one is in immediate danger of being killed, explain what is happening? Is this the famed hospitality of Konoha and Uzu?" The three Kunoichi bowed their heads in shame while the Hokage's grandson just looked at Naruto with defiance before commenting, "They attacked me. We were just returning the favor?" Grabbing the boy by the ear, Naruto jumped down with the boy before landing beside Temari. "Don't twist the events, Konohamaru. Sasuke, Sai and I were already here for some time now. We witnessed everything that happened. Now apologize to this young lady for running into her." Konohamaru looked like he was about to protest before bowing to Temari and said, "I apologize for running into you. In my defense, I was running away from those three monsters." Before Konohamaru could even blink, Naruto smacked the boy on the head before pointing to the Uzu Kunoichi. Konohamaru sighed before bowing to the three incensed Kunoichi and said, "Please forgive me for pranking you and calling you monsters." The three Kunoichi nodded before Karen stated, "This is the last time we forgive you, Konohamaru. Destroy our battle dresses again, and you will wish you were in hell." Temari and Kankuro gulped in fear at the killing intent wafting off the red-haired girl. Their fear increased when Naruto called out, "You can come out now, Ichibi. Please join us here. I am sure that your siblings will feel safer with you beside them." "Kankuro, Temari. You both are a disgrace to Suna," Gaara said as he appeared in a swirl of sand. Everyone except Naruto were surprised to see the red-haired boy with the massive sand gourd on his back appear. None of them sensed his presence until he appeared. "Uzumaki Naruto, the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Mother wishes for your blood, yet warns me to stay away from you. I wonder why?" Gaara said with a maniacal look in his eyes. "Why don't you bump fists with me and find out?" Naruto said with a grin as he raised his right fist to Gaara. The Ichibi Jinchuriki looked suspicious at the gesture but decided to humor Naruto, to the extreme surprise of his siblings. Right after Gaara tapped his fist to Naruto's, the sand in the gourd rattled before settling down. Temari and Kankuro looked surprised as the eternal bloodlust emanating from their little brother suddenly became more subdued. Pulling back their fists, Gaara bowed to Naruto and said, "Thank you for your help, Naruto-sama. With your intervention, Shukaku has finally settled down. I thought he might. He isn't really a mad being. He just wishes to honor his first Jinchuriki. The only person he could call his friend. Be his friend, Gaara, and you will find that a Bijuu's wisdom goes a long way. Come by the Uzu compound in the evening. I will have Natsumi fix your seal. Truly a shoddy work. Who forgets to place a psyche barrier in a Bijuu holding seal? No wonder you can't sleep." Gaara nodded in agreement before saying, "These are my elder siblings. Kankuro, my brother, and Temari, my sister, and I am Gaara. A pleasure to meet you all. These beautiful Kunoichi from Uzu are my cousin, Uzumaki Karen, the one with the red hair. Mikushu Swearen, The one with the blue hair and crimson crystal dust floating about her. Then there is Yuki Haku. All three Kunoichi nodded in greeting but didn't say anything else. Next, the boys are members of Team 7, Uchiha Sasuke, my former Jonan teammate. Sasuke nodding in greeting as Naruto continued, Sai. An orphan who has developed an interesting new hidden jutsu style, and you have already met my wayward apprentice, Sarutobi Konohamaru. Pleasure to meet you all. Forgive us Naruto-sama, but we must meet up with our Jonin-sensei, so I bid you all a farewell, Gaara said before clasping a hand on each of his siblings' shoulders, causing both of them to jump in fear. With a meaningful nod to Naruto, Gaara and his siblings vanished in a swirl of sand. Sai put away the ink glob in the small gourd he was carrying at his waist and jumped down to the street with Sasuke. Tough competition. I am forfeiting as soon as I see Gaara as my opponent. Don't you think it is a bit early to make such a decision, Sai? I mean, he may be a Jinchuriki, but I doubt he undefeatable. In fact, I would prefer to see who is stronger. Me or him, Sasuke said with a superior grin. Don't be so sure about it. Gaara is a very dangerous opponent. Much like Swearin can manipulate crystal dust, he can manipulate sand. From the reports, he has been on multiple B-rank missions and has personally defeated enemy Jonin while his team and sensei stood back. I can assure you that underestimating him will lead to your defeat, especially since he returned from each of his missions without a single scratch on him. I wonder who is better in manipulating fine particles, me or him. Swearin wondered before Karen slapped the girl in the back and commented, then be sure to survive long enough to face off against him. When I finally focused my senses on him, I was shocked to find that his personal reserves are just as large as any cages, that too without adding the Ichibi's chakra to the mix. I would advise not to engage him. He reminded me of Zabuza-sama on an assassination mission. That isn't the kind of opponent you would wish to fight. Haku commented only for Naruto to chuckle and say, that's just his defense mechanism. His village treats him like he is the Ichibi. He uses that facade to protect himself. I will be going now. Johnny. Team 7 and Team Uzi stared at the place Naruto vacated before Karen commented, so? Anyone up for some food? I am paying. Sorry, but I have to meet up with Nii Samui again. It is my day to take her out on a date. I just wish that Naruto hadn't nominated me as a prospective groom for a political marriage. Oh, stop complaining. At least the girl isn't fawning over you like all of your fangirls. You should be happy that you already have a prospective candidate for one of your wives, Karen said with a teasing grin as Sasuke left the group, completely ignoring Karen. Gaara walked into the massive chamber underneath the main mansion in the Uzumaki compound. Behind him, Temari, Kankuro and Baki followed with wary expressions on their faces. As they reached the center of the chamber, the lights brightened to show a massive ceiling array was carved into the floor of the chamber. At the other end of the chamber was a wooden table with multiple clay vats. Baki saw that Naruto, a red-haired girl of about 12 and a red-haired woman in her middle 20s were standing over a scroll, discussing something. Ah, welcome. Gaara, you will need to remove all of your clothes and sit in the middle of the array. Then we can begin. Gaara didn't say anything as he quickly divested himself of his clothes, leaving him in his underwear. Quickly striding to the middle of the circle, Gaara sat down without even a prompt and closed his eyes in meditation. He already knew that his old seal will be destroyed. The pain he felt when Akatsuki had extracted Shukaku in the future was prominent in his mind. He was not going to let the pain show, just like last time. You three. Come and stand with us, while we prepare for the sealing. Do not touch anything and especially do not channel any chakra. The consequences may be catastrophic. Natsumi barked out, causing the three Suna shinobi to follow her orders without complaint. After they were situated, Natsumi turned to Karen and said, be ready, Karen-chan. If Shukaku tries to escape, it will be your job to restrain him. Karen gulped before her red eyes glowed with determination as she focused her chakra to create the chakra chains. The Kongo Fusa was truly an awe-inspiring technique, but also difficult to master. She just hoped that she was ready to restrain a Bijou as Naruto's mother could. I am filling the troughs, Natsumi. I hope you are ready, Naruto said as she tipped one of the vats of ink into a small sluice. The ink flowed down the sluice before slowly filling up the craved troughs in the array. After the troughs were filled, Natsumi walked forward with a brush and ink pot in hand. Gently laying Gaara down on the ground, Natsumi started drawing some seals around Gaara's stomach. When it was finished, Natsumi turned to Naruto and Karen before nodding and placing her palm in the center of the recently drawn seal. Natsumi channeled her chakra into the seal before twisting her palm in the clockwise direction. Immediately, a bubbling brownish-red chakra cloak formed around Gaara as he convulsed in pain. Quickly, Natsumi started drawing some Fuinjutsu Shiki on Gaara's stomach. As the cloak bubbled even more, Naruto walked forward as a yellow cloak of chakra formed around him. Naruto placed a glowing palm on Gaara's forehead and soon the bubbling cloak of brownish-red chakra was forced back into Gaara just as Natsumi finished drawing the seals. "Jump back, Naruto-sama. I am going to solidify the seal now." Naruto nodded and jumped back to the safety of the table as Natsumi quickly formed a few hand seals before placing her palms on both sides of Gaara's stomach and called out, "Fuinjutsu, Gachi Tekken Fun." A bright silvery white light erupted from the newly forming seal before it solidified into a simple pentagonal seal with the kanji for iron at the 5 vertices and an Uzumaki swirl in the middle. Rubbing the sweat from her forehead, Natsumi stood up and walked back to the table before slumping on the chair. "It is done. He should wake up in a couple of moments, Naruto-sama." Naruto nodded and right after that, Gaara gave a groan as he sat up. "You know something, I didn't think that changing a Bijou restraining seal would be so painful. I feel so sore." "Gaara? Are you alright?" Baki asked with apprehension. He was stunned at the perpetual bloodlust being gone and was now afraid that he wouldn't be able to judge Gaara's moods. "Why the hell is there a second presence in my seal, Naruto?" Gaara asked with confusion as he stood up and caught his clothes, that Naruto threw towards him. "The second presence is your mother's soul. That sand protection you have is your mother's will to protect her baby boy. It seems that my parents weren't the only ones to think about sealing their souls or fragments of them in our seals," Naruto said with a grin. Gaara nodded before saying, "So that's why I always thought Shukaku was my mother. He was interfering with her emotions and feelings. Do you think I will be able to talk with her? I would advise against it until the seal is better settled. I have designed it to siphon off a bit of your chakra to support the continued existence of your mother's soul. You can try communicating with your mother's soul in a week's time." Gaara nodded at Natsumi's words before turning to his team and saying, "Father is betraying our morals and our honor. Baki, when my father comes to Konoha, make sure to inform me. I wish to talk with him." Baki nodded at the sudden authority dripping from Gaara's tone. The sudden sanity in the redhead's eyes also startled the Jonin, but he decided not to question it. If the sanity would prevent Gaara from massacring everyone in their sleep, then he was all for it. "As you wish, Gaara. Now we must be going now. I am sure that you wish to have a lion after being insomniac for so long." Gaara nodded as Baki turned to Naruto and said with a bow, "Thank you for your assistance, Naruto-sama, Uzumaki-san, and Uzumaki-san. Do not mention it, Baki-san. It was the least I could do to help a fellow Jinchuriki. Gaara, don't hold back during the exams. In fact, if you face against Konohamaru, Sasuke, one of the 3 from Uzu, I would advise that you go all out." Karen paled at Naruto's advice. Gaara gave a bloodthirsty grin and said, "I wasn't planning on it. I just hope that you haven't overestimated your students, Naruto." The 3 shinobi from Suna shivered at the sudden bloodthirst emanating from Gaara and moved away a bit out of fear. "I am sure that I haven't. See you all around." "It is as Baki-san said. You need the sleep. You look pathetic," Naruto said with a grin right before a shuriken of sand flew at his head. Without even blinking, Naruto waved a hand and took control of the sand with an impish grin. "Ninju is far greater than ninjas too. Here, let me show you." With that said, Naruto forced the sand to coalesce into a stone before melting into a shuriken made of lava before it suddenly froze into solid rock, after which, it dropped to the ground. The Suna shinobi looked shocked at how easily Naruto stopped the sudden attack while Gaara chuckled, causing all of the Suna shinobi to shiver in fright. "A battle between us will be interesting. I hope we get the chance, Naruto." "I am sure we will," Naruto said with a knowing grin. "Baki, Temari, Kankuro, let's go. I want to see how much sleeping will help me in getting stronger." Without even complaining, the 3 quickly followed Gaara out of the chamber and out of the Uzu compound, leaving behind an amused Naruto and 2 confused Uzumaki women. Many prospective Chunin hopefuls were entering the academy to take their exams. Amongst them were a all Kunoichi team from Uzu and an all Shinobi team from Konoha. The 6 met at the entrance of the academy and greeted each other with nods. "Sasuke, you and Konohamaru are the only ones who know the academy, so lead the way and we will follow," Karen said, causing Sasuke to nod and walk in with his team and the all Kunoichi following behind him. They handed over their forms to the Chunin instructors sitting at a table beside the doors and were directed to head to classroom 303. They went up a pair of stairs and saw a large group of Genin crowding around a door with the sign 303. The door was being guarded by 2 Genin. But Karen sensed that something wasn't right. Focusing her Kagura Shigan, she whispered to her teammates and Team Kakashi before heading towards the stairs to the next floor. As they were walking up the stairs, they heard a girl whine, "Come on, let us through. We need to take the exam." Tenten is laying it on thick, isn't she? Konohamaru commented with a grin, causing the rest of his team and Yuzuku no Ichi to nod in agreement. "I wonder when they will come up. The exam is going to start soon. I am sure that they will be here soon." Haku. "After all, do you see the uptight Hyuga team missing such an opportunity?" Karen said with a scowl. Let it be known that Uzumaki Karen hated Hyuga Neji with a passion, especially since he insulted her by calling her a loser for studying the Fuinjutsu arts. "You just wish to be the one to face him so that you can show him up, Karen. You really need to keep your temper under control. You really don't want to get the moniker of red hot-blooded habanero like Kushina-sama, do you?" Swearen said with a teasing grin. Karen pouted as they reached the door to the exam room, only to be met by Zabuza and Kakashi leaning on the wall beside the door discussing something. Kakashi was the first to respond. "Ah, there you six are. Go in and make sure to keep alert. There may be some teams with ulterior motives. Hatake is right, you lot, and keep an eye out for suspicious Hinan. Other than that, have fun and make sure that everyone learns that Uzu is the best." "Ha. My students will show that Konoha is the best, Iba. We will see you, Take. Girls, make sure that you reach the finals. We Jonin have a bet and I believe that you lot are the only ones who have a chance to reach the finals with the whole team intact." With that said, Zabuza vanished in a sunshine, leaving behind a thin mist. "Boys, I expect you all to make it to the finals. I have quite a lot of Rio banking on you. Good luck." As with Zabuza, Kakashi also vanished in a sunshine, though his was a crackle of lighting sparks. The six Shinan blinked in shock before shrugging and entering the room. As soon as they entered, they were accosted by the collective killing intent of the participants. While impressive, none of them even felt uncomfortable as they were used to being subjected to elite Jonin level killing intents. "Hey guys. You lot got entered as well?" Ino asked, approaching the six Shinan. "Wahoo, it seems that everyone is here," Kiba called out, entering the room with his demon team guy. "Troublesome, why did you monsters have to be entered? Now I don't have any chance to succeed. My mom is going to be so insufferable." Shikamaru groaned, causing Hinata to smile and say, "Just try your best, Shikamaru-kun. I am sure that your mother will be pleased with your performance. Granted, you have to put in your all." Shikamaru nodded and was about to comment when a gray-haired elder Konoha Shinan walked up to them and said, "You lot should keep it down. Everyone here is quite anxious and the wrong behavior could trigger someone. You lot are rookies, right? If I am not mistaken, you lot were taught personally by Naruto-sama in the art of Ninshu." "That's right, but who are you?" Kiba asked with narrowed eyes. The boy smelled like snakes and the only person he knows that smells like that was Mitarashi Anko, and that's because she was a snake summoner. There shouldn't be any more snake summoners in Konoha. "Please forgive me. The name is Yakashi Kabuto. I am a Jonin who specializes in Ryojutsu and have taken these exams 7 times. Each time I failed due to one reason or another. They are quite difficult. Though I have gained quite the amount of intelligence on participants." Everyone in the group nodded, but some were a bit suspicious. "No one is that bad to fail the exam 7 times. Sasuke spoke up. "Yakashi-san, you say you have intelligence on the participants, care to share some with comrades?" Kabuto looked startled at the query but nodded with a smile as he took out a pack of cards. "Sure. I believe that as your senior, it is the least I can do. These are Nin info cards. I have burned the information into them with my chakra so that no one but I can access them. Do you have anyone in particular you wish to learn of?" Sasuke though for a moment before speaking, "Ni Samui of Kumo, Sabaku no Gara of Suna, Kamizuri Kurotsuchi of Iwa and Uzumaki Karen of Uzu." Samui heard from across the room, causing her team to approach Sasuke and his group. At the same time, Gara moved towards them with his siblings, clearly interested in what information Kabuto had on him. Kurotsuchi didn't approach but moved closer with her teammates. "Why are you asking about me? You and Shikamaru already know all about my record?" Samui asked with confusion. "To learn how accurate his intel is." "Go ahead, Yakashi-san," Sasuke said with his Sharingan active. No one realized that Sasuke had subtly casted a genjutsu on Samui and Karen with his Sharingan before dispelling them. Both girls shared a look before frowning. "Alright, first is Ni Samui. She is the niece of the Yondaime Reikage and the cousin of Nibi Jinchuriki. Her Jonin sensei is Kirabai, the Hichibi Jinchuriki. Her teammates are Kuronamoi, Neither have last names and are probably orphans. She has quite high Kenjutsu stats along with moderately high ninjutsu and genjutsu stats, all well above Junon level, nearly Tokubetsu Jonin level. Her elemental affinity is lighting, a common affinity in Kumo. Her mission statistics are 1B rank, 37 C ranks and 134 D ranks. She has been a kunoichi for a little more than a year and a half. She is known for her cold demeanor and is said to have single-handedly eliminated a band of rapist bandits with only Kenjutsu. Samui nodded and said, "Quite accurate information, Yakashi-san. I am impressed with your information gathering skills." Kabuto nodded before taking out another card. Next is Sabaku no Gara. He is the third and youngest child of the Yondaime Kazekage. His sensei is Baki of the Windblade. His teammates are his siblings, Damari and Kankuro. He has Jonin level ninjutsu stats. Genjutsu and Taiitis is unknown, though I would hazard that he is already Jonin level. He is the Jinchuriki of the Ichibi and is known for his bloodthirsty nature and Sanjutsu. His mission statistics are quite impressive with 5 B ranks, 12 C ranks and an unknown number of D ranks. He has been a shinobi for roughly the same time as you and is known for his bloodthirsty demeanor and returning from all of his missions without a single scratch. Same thing Naruto told me, just more detailed. Next one please Yakashi-san. Kabuto narrowed his eyes before taking out the next card. Kamizuri Kurotsuchi. She is the granddaughter of the Sundaime Tsuchikage much like Konohamaru-san is the grandson of the Sundaime Hokage. Kabuto said nodding in Konohamaru's direction. Her sensei is the Bijinchuriki Roshi. And her teammates are her cousin, Suzumabachi and Akatsuchi. Her stats put her well into the Tokubetsu Jonin rank. Her mission stats, I am sorry to say, are inconsistent, but they are 1B rank, 12 C ranks and 30 D ranks. She is known for her Yoton Kekai Genkai and is said to have a quick temper and is said to be a prodigy in ninjutsu. Kurotsuchi narrowed her eyes at the amount of accuracy Kabuto's intel contained. The only thing that was wrong was that her single S rank was not included, though to be fair, that S rank was one she wasn't supposed to be in, so it was probably not accessible by anyone not on the Tsuchikage and those he approved. Finally there is Uzumaki Karen, the current heiress of the Uzumaki clan. She is the only other member of the royal branch of the fabled Uzumaki clan. She is a former Kuza kunoichi, but Kuza gave up all rights on her when they transferred her back to the control of Uzu. Her sensei is Iba Zabuza, formerly known as Momochi Zabuza, the present head of the noble Iba clan of the reforming Uzugakuer. Her teammates are Yuki Haku, the present head of the noble Yuki clan of the reforming Uzugakuer and Makeso Sueren, the present head of the noble Makeso clan of the reforming Uzugakuer. It is said that she is trained by her cousin Senjutsu Nade-sama in Taijutsu. She only knows the basic academy jutsu, but is said to have been trained in Ninshu by Uzumaki Naruto-sama and Iryo-jutsu by Senjutsu Nade-sama. Her element or elements are unknown. Her genjutsu is low chunin level. Her fuinjutsu skills far surpass most jonin, though it is to be expected as her clan is known for prodigious skills in the art. For mission statistics, she has done 1A rank, 7B ranks, 12 C ranks and 39 D ranks, including her mission statistics from Kuza. It is said that she has a powerful sensory ability that easily rivals or even surpasses the Hyuga Byakugan. It is also said that her chakra is special and has the ability to revitalize anyone injected with to the point of being completely healed from mortal wounds. And that's all that I have. I must say, those are some incredible credentials. Karen narrowed her eyes at the information. Some of it should have been out of Kabuto's reach, though he may have had his own sensei get access to it, but her Ninshu and Iryo-jutsu training were completely secret and unavailable to anyone outside Uzu and those Naruto authorized. Sasuke was right to be cautious. Karen turned to Samui and motioned towards Kabuto with her eyes. Something Haku and Sueren caught and were immediately put on alert. What about Karen's teammates, do you have any information on them? Kiba asked with a curious expression. Kabuto looked surprised at the query before stating, sorry, but I only have the basic information. Their names, their teammates and sensei and most of all that they are the heads of their respective clans. Other than that, their skills, their mission statistics and personal information is unavailable. Uzushiogakuer no Sato is probably the most secretive village in existence, if you don't count Otogakuer. I didn't even know they were a thing until they showed up for the exams, Kabuto said with a scoff causing Sasuke, Haku, and the members of Team Guy to chuckle. Care to share the joke? Kabuto asked with a raised eyebrow. Sasuke stopped chuckling and said, oh, we knew about Oto for some time now, especially since the S rank we took to Kiri. Sasuke said pointing to himself, Sai, Haku, Tenten, Lee and Neji in turn, causing nearly every foreign ninja to raise an eyebrow in shock. Jinan partaking in S-rank missions. What kind of monsters do Konoha and Uzu produce? First Uzumaki Naruto, then Haruno Sakura, and now these Jinan. Did they even stand a chance against monsters like them? Care to elaborate? Kabuto asked with a pained smile. Otogakure was founded by the traitorous snake, Orochimaru no Densetsu no Sannin. Quite sad, that he thought that he could win against Naruto. I still remember the beatdown Naruto gave to the bastard. Then the landscape-changing spar he had with the Hakuja Sennin. I was quite pleased to learn that Orochimaru is now persona non grata with the snake summons. I do believe that he is the present Otokage, Sasuke said, causing the Itonen to stiffen in shock. They are quite pathetic, serving a traitorous shinobi. Fate has decreed that they all shall remain losers for the rest of their existence, Neji said with an arrogant smirk, causing the Auto team to fume in anger, but decided that it was better not to retaliate against them, not with the warnings Orochimaru-sama gave them. Neji was going to continue with the degradation of the Itonen, but the sudden explosion of smoke at the front of the room followed by rough male voice stopped him. "Alright maggots. It's time to start this sorry exam. I am Morino Ibiki and my colleague is Haruno Sakura. We shall be the ones administering your exams." Many of the Jinan gulped at the glares Ibiki and Sakura were giving the group, not to mention the massive killing intent wafting off the duo. Sakura continued, "Come up here, and take a number. That shall be your seat assignment. Try to trick us, and the consequences will be dire." The cold tone with the equally cold smile Sakura sported caused some of the Jinan to shiver in fright. Sakura may be young, but everyone has already heard tales of her prowess. Silently, each and every one of the Jinan participants walked up to the head table and took their assigned seat number. After everyone had taken their seats, the Chuninades moved about handing the exam sheets to the candidates. The exam will last exactly 1 hour. Sakura started with a blast of killing intent. Any who try to be smart, will find themselves and their teammates failing and being banned from taking this exam for life. Is that clear? All the Jinan, even the Konoha Jinan, nodded in fear, causing Sakura to click her tongue and say, "I said, is that clear maggots?" "Crystal." The collection of Jinan shouted back. Sakura nodded in satisfaction and said, "There will be certain rules. Make sure to memorize them as we won't be repeating ourselves. Morino-san, if you would?" Ibiki nodded to Sakura and said, "You always start with 10 points. Each wrong answer will cause 1 point deduction. If you get caught cheating, you will lose 3 points. If anyone gets a 0, they and their teammates fail the exam. To pass, the minimum collective total of your team must be 3 points. There are 9 questions on the paper with a blank space of the 10th. The 10th question will be given at the 45th minute mark. Is that clear?" "Crystal clear, sir." Ibiki nodded in amusement as Sakura started the exam. For next 45 minutes, Ibiki, Sakura and the Chuninades kept vigilant. By the 15th minute mark, teams started dropping off like flies. By the 40th minute, only 32 teams were left. In the last 5 minutes, only 2 more teams were eliminated, before Ibiki called out, "All right, it's time for the final question. Now there is an additional rule to this question. You can choose to take it or not." Normally, Jinan would complain, but the potent killing intent that was wafting off Sakura kept them quiet. Seeing that there weren't any smartasses, Ibiki continued, "If you don't take it, you and your team will immediately fail. If you do take it and get it wrong, you will be banned from taking the exams for life." This time, the killing intent wasn't enough to deter some of the more vocal Jinan from commenting. "But what about the repeaters? Why do they have chance, and not us? There must be some here who have got the final question wrong." "That's good question, Jinan at desk 55. To answer it, I am the rules. My exam, my rules. It is your bad luck that you got me and Haruno as your examiners. Now, desks 55, 22 and 76, collect your things and leave. You are disqualified for talking in the examination hall." "That's not fair, man." The Jinan at desk 22 complained, only for a kunai to fly past his cheek, leaving behind a very thin bleeding laceration. Turning his head to the source, he saw Sakura with another kunai in hand, buffing her nails. The sweet smile she was directing his way causing him to involuntarily shiver and pale in fright. He didn't even realize when Sakura had taken out a kunai and threw it at him. Ibiki didn't need to ask again, as the Jinan ran out of the room without a second thought, his teammates following at a more sedate pace. They didn't want to face off against an angry Sakura. Not with her monikers of Kyodai no Onna and Shinku Megami. I didn't think Sakura's presence would in fact enhance Iviki's mind games like that. Normally, Iviki need to speak to unnerve the Junon. I feel bad for this crop. Kakashi commented, causing Kurenai to frown. What do you mean, Kakashi? Why do you feel bad for the Junon? What is so terrifying about Iviki? Oh right, you're a rookie, so you wouldn't know. Asuma commented, causing Guy to nod in agreement. Iviki is known as the ultimate sadist. He is the head of Taiji and a specialist in psychological torture. If I am not mistaken, Sakura has been subtly manipulating the atmosphere of the room through her killing intent in a minor genjutsu. Not quite, Guy. Sakura-chan is also bending the water vapor into making the atmosphere in the room much more oppressive for the candidates, not to mention playing around with the blood flow of the candidates with blood bending. Naruto said as he put away the Fuinjutsu scroll he was reading. Are you leaving already, Naruto? There is still 7 minutes left in the exam. Kakashi asked with surprise. Naruto chuckled and said, I need to make an entrance with Anko. If that irritates Iviki and Sakura, all the better. Before anyone could comment, Naruto faded away into the ether. After a few moments, Kakashi finally spoke up. I think we are about to witness Naruto and Anko fly across the village. Why does he have to annoy Sakura like that? Kurenai asked with bewilderment. I think he just does that to keep the relationship casual, instead of the formal that protocol demands. You know how much Naruto hates protocols. He mustn't want to lose his oldest friend due to protocols. Besides, he was a prankster much longer than he was a daimyo, so I don't think it's strange that he would pull pranks from time to time. Not to mention, any dramatic entry Naruto-sama does will be over the top, especially with Anko joining in, Guy stated before horror overtook everyone's faces at the possibilities those two could cook up. Truly, no one wanted Anko and Naruto plotting together. No one else? Sakura asked with a lazy tone as she kept buffing her nails as she and Iviki waited for any more Junon to pull out. Surprisingly, 25 teams were still there and none seemed interested in leaving. Iviki nodded at Sakura as they both stood up and said, Congratulations. You all pass. Before anyone could comment, Sakura let out a blast of concentrated killing intent as she started to speak. I am sure that many of you are confused with my associate's words. To dumb it down, you all pass. The final question was a test of daring. If you wish to be Chunin, you must understand that retreat isn't an option. As a Chunin, you are expected to lead teams and take harder missions. Failure isn't an option. The purpose of this exam was to test information gathering skills. Those of you who remained showcased acceptable levels of skill. You were meant to cheat as the questions were far above standard Chunin level. Information is a very important factor on missions. You must not only gain it, but you must be certain that what you have gained is correct. False intel usually leads to death or capture. I would personally prefer death to capture. If you wouldn't mind, Iviki-san. Iviki nodded as he removed his bandana, revealing gruesome scarring on his scalp. Screw holes, burns, carvings. The list went on, causing some of the Junon to feel queasy. Not nice, is it? Iviki-san survived such torture and was able to keep the information secret until he was able to escape. I hope you all understand the importance of intel to both the mission and the village at large. With that said, congratulations for proving that you have what it takes to gather low to mid-priority intel. Your next proctors will be here soon to lead you to the... Sakura didn't get to finish as two massive plumes of smoke filled the room before a gust of wind blew them away, revealing Anko standing on the head of a large coiled brown cobra. Beside them were Naruto standing on the head of an ice blue toad with Gamakichi and Gamatatsu on his shoulders waving streamers around. A large banner was floating in the air, held taut by invisible hands of wind. The banner read, "The incredibly sexy and fortunately single Anko Mitarashi and the incredibly handsome and unfortunately taken Uzumaki Naruto." With arrows pointing down from their respective names. Before Anko or Naruto could speak, they felt a shiver run down their spines. Turning to Iviki, Anko asked, "We interrupted her before she could finish her speech, didn't we?" Iviki grinned and nodded as he stated, "You both are early." "Anko! Naruto!" Sakura screamed out, finally reaching her boiling point before an enraged Pinka drew water for the air and launched spinning discs of thin ice at the two. The summons quickly vacated the premises in puffs of smoke as Naruto and Anko used judicious blasts of fire to vaporize the deadly discs and jump back. While they fought against an enraged Sakura, both noticed the number of candidates left. "Wow! You must be losing your touch, Iviki. I was sure that Sakura's presence would help cut down the number of candidates to about 30. Naruto commented as he conjured a wall of vacuum that crushed the icicles Sakura aimed at him. "I agree with Naruto-sama here, Iviki. Yikes, Anko screamed as she ducked under a lava shuriken. Where in hell did you get lava in a wooden classroom? Seals. I always carry 10 tons of rocks with me, Sakura said with a malicious smirk as she unsealed a large boulder and manipulated it into lava before causing spikes of lava to fly at the snake mistress. Anko was at her wit's end. Ice, water, winds, rocks, lightning, fire. Throw them at her and she will find a way to counter them. Lava, on the other hand, was a completely different ballgame. Anko gulped as she started generating lighting, hoping that a concentrated blast would be enough to blow away the superheated rock, only for Naruto to appear in front of her and raise his hand. From his hand, a glowing seal formed in the air before a net of chakra flew out and engulfed the spikes and the ball of lava before contracting. Everyone watched in awe as the net caused the lava to instantly solidify and then be absorbed by the seal, which shrunk down and solidified into a small stone tablet. Sakura was about to continue when Naruto spoke up with a tone filled with authority. "That's enough, Sakura. We both had our fun. Let's get back to the reason we are here. Don't interrupt me during my speeches. Anyway, your next proctors are here to lead you to the site of your next exam. I am sure they need no introduction. Now hop it," Sakura said with an annoyed tone before she took deep breaths to calm down. Naruto created a cage bunshine and told the remaining candidates to follow his clone, causing all the Jonin to rush after the clone, eager to leave the enraged pink-haired medic's presence. Even the Konoha 12 didn't waste time. They knew how dangerous an enraged Sakura could become. After all the Jonin had left, Sakura, Anko, Ibiki and Naruto chuckled before Ibiki said, "That was funny. I didn't think that the impromptu spar would elicit such fear amongst the Jonin." Only a few Jonin remained calm. "The Kuzoku no Ichi, Gaara no Sabaku and Yakushi Kabuto, right?" Naruto asked, getting a nod from Ibiki. "The Kuzoku no Ichi is Orochimaru. Anko, assign Gate 23 to the Snake's team and Gate 34 to Kabuto's team. I will see how talented these idiots truly are. If I am not mistaken, you and Natsumi added those experimental seal-based golems there, right?" Sakura asked with a grin. "Oh, there are some scattered around the forest, but the ones there are the latest and strongest prototypes. I want to see how powerful they truly are. Can I hunt Orochimaru down after the golem test?" Anko whined, causing the other three to chuckle as Naruto nodded, giving his permission. The Chunin candidates were standing around in front of a walled-off forest. Ominous sounds and the screeches of animals in pain could be heard emanating from beyond the walls, causing all of the gathered Chunin hopefuls to become nervous. One Jonin in particular was exceptionally nervous as she looked around with sweat dripping down her face. The Jonin was none other than Uzumaki Karen, and with her immense sensory ability, she could feel the monstrous beings hidden in the forest. Her nerves started unnerving her teammates as well. Sueren was playing around with a small pink cyan crystal ball with Haku fingering her senbone. Naruto and Anko faded into existence on top of the wall with grins on their faces. Anko was the first to greet the Jonin. "Welcome, maggots, to the second phase of the Chunin exams. This phase is much easier than the last one. You all can use whatever you have in your arsenal to survive for 5 days in the Forest of Death." Naruto picked up the speech. "The forest is filled with deadly creatures, traps and most of all, poisonous and man-eating flora. Be careful not to sit on the wrong tree, because that will be the last thing you do," Anko said with a cheerful grin. All the Jonin became more unnerved at what the two were saying. Even those who knew Naruto were becoming a bit unnerved. Not the objective isn't only to survive for 5 days, that is 120 hours. Each team will be given a map containing the location of either a heaven or earth scroll. You will have to travel to the location and gain access to at least a single copy of each scroll, Naruto stated as he held up a blue and a green scroll. Anko's cheerful tone suddenly became foreboding. "Beware, for the scrolls have powerful guardians. You have to gain a pair of scrolls by whatever means possible, which includes stealing from a team that already has it, tricking the guardian, defeating the guardian, or even convincing the guardian to give the scroll up. Killing is allowed, but frowned upon. After you have at least a single pair of scrolls, you will need to head to the tower in the center of the forest to pass. You will fail if you take a peek at the scrolls, you lose a teammate, or you fail to reach the tower in time or without both scrolls," Naruto stated with a tone of authority. As Naruto-sama has explained, you must get both scrolls, get to the tower before 5 days are up, and must have reached the tower without either peeking at the scrolls or losing a teammate. Now sign these consent forms so the Konoha is absolved from the responsibility of any death that occurring during the exams. Without a signed form, you will be disqualified. After you turn in your 3 forms, you will be assigned a gate number and given the aforementioned map. Enjoy the stint in my home away from home, And make sure to bleed a lot. Some of my dear plants need a lot of blood to grow, Anko said with a psychotic glint in her eyes. Are you sure that we should head to this one? Ajanan asked his teammates. The boy had every distinguishing feature hidden by his battle clothes. Only his Hittite was visible, which showed that he was from Kiri. Beside him, his two Kunoichi teammates nodded. One was a beautiful teenager with long flowing black hair and deep brown eyes. Her Hittite was wrapped around her left bicep and a katana was strapped to her waist. The girl was wearing a navy shayakushu and hakama. Her teammate was much older, nearing 18, and was wearing a modified Kirionbu uniform with a cloth face mask hiding her face and her Hittite adjusted on her forehead so that only her pale green eyes could be seen. Stop complaining, Toji. This one is the closest. We quickly gain our scrolls and hightail it to the tower. Isn't that right, Tsuki? The girl in the modified Anbu uniform nodded in agreement as she said, we can't waste time, Toji. I am with Hitomi on this one. Toji sighed and nodded as the team rushed to the location of their first scroll. As they reached the clearing, they saw a large stone lion with the scroll held in its mouth. Intricate seals were carved into the body of the lion. The three Kiri-Jinan approached the scroll with caution. They were looking around for the guardian, but until now, they could neither sense nor see anything. As the three reached the lion statue, Toji nudged Hitomi and said, "You are the most experienced, you take it. We will keep watch." Hitomi grumbled and reached out with her right hand. No sooner than she touched the scroll, she jumped back in fear of activating a trap. After waiting for a few moments, when she saw that no traps were triggered and no guardian appeared, the girl got bolder and pulled the scroll free. The girl turned around with the scroll in her hand when her instincts screamed at her roll forwards. Toji and Tsuki watched in horror as Hitomi was unable to completely dodge the blow from the assailant. They were awed and horrified to see the seals on the statue glowing with an eldritch red light as it came to life. They rushed forward and picked up their teammate and jumped back only for the lion to jump over them to land behind. All three turned to the animated statue with horror and saw it breath out a massive wave of red flames. All three tried to jump back, but they suddenly felt some kind of seal restraining their movement. As the flames washed over them, the last thing they saw was a pair of maliciously glowing red eyes. As the flames died down, all three Kiri-Jinan were found unconscious with severe third-degree burns. Surprisingly, the scroll was completely unharmed. The lion prowled forward and gently took the scroll in its mouth before returning to the center of the clearing and settling down into the form of a simple statue. After a couple of minutes, a clone of Naruto appeared in the clearing, right beside the statue with a grin. Wailing forward, Naruto placed his hands on the ground, causing a sealing array to form around the trio of incapacitated Kiri-Jinan. A translucent dome formed around the Kiri-Jinan before they vanished from sight. Right afterwards, the Naruto clone popped out of existence. Team 10 looked around in surprise. The scroll was sitting on a large pedestal in the middle of the clearing. Choji was about to rush forward when Shikamaru stopped him. "What's wrong, Shika?" Choji asked as he munched on his chips. "Doesn't this feel too easy to you?" Choji looked surprised but nodded after a few moments. "You are right. Ino, do you think you can take the scroll from here?" "I will certainly try," Ino stated as she focused on the scroll. After a few moments the scroll slowly lifted up, but Ino had to drop it when the screeching of a bird broke her concentration. All three looked up to see a massive wooden bird diving towards them, its long pointed beak being covered in a thin film of sharpened air. All over the bird's body were an intricate network of seals, glowing with an azure hue. Shikamaru complained, "I knew this was too easy. Dumb troublesome blonde." Ino, Choji and Shikamaru tried to move deeper into the forest when they hit a barrier. The barrier threw them back, causing them to look shocked before jumping to the side as the bird easily pierced through the tree they were resting on. "What the hell?" Ino screamed in shock. The bird pulled out its beak and opened it as Naruto's voice erupted from its mouth. "You have activated the challenge, defeat the Guardian or be defeated. That is the only way. Damn troublesome blonde. Ino, you are the only one who can fly. Handle the bird. We will see about giving you support, though don't expect much from me other than strategies and warning," Shikamaru stated as he threw a kunai wrapped with an Uzumaki-grade demolition tag at the bird. At the same time, Choji started launching discs and spikes of rock at the bird in hopes of damaging it. Ino took to the air with her barely acceptable flight skills. The kunai hit the bird in the face and exploded, but to Team 10's shock and horror, a barrier formed around the explosion before it imploded into a tiny ball. The ball was then absorbed by the bird. The bird turned in flight towards Ino and opened its beak wide. From within its cavernous mouth, a bright yellow pinpoint of light formed before a massive beam of destructive energy as it blasted towards the shocked Yamanaka Aris. Diving, Ino was barely able to dodge the beam of destructive energy. Turning towards the direction of the beam's path, Ino saw that the beam had craved a path of destruction, igniting the tops of the trees for nearly 50 yards. Ino gulped before she unsealed a set of 15 knives and manipulated them with haste psychokinesis ability. As the Ino and the bird battled in the air, knives crashing into the bird or parrying spikes of wooden feathers the bird launched at Ino, Shikamaru and Choji were caught in a predicament of their own. On the ground, many of the small wooden feathers had sprouted into hideous plants with writhing vines dripping in toxins. What the hell are those two doing to the Jinan? Kurenai asked in shock. I agree. These tests should be for Anbu entrance exams, Kakashi exclaimed with his lone visible eye wide open in shock. Anbu entrance exams? Are you crazy, Hatake? Potential Anbu would easily rip through these constructs. I helped test the prototypes after all, Zabuza said as he watched the screens with amusement. As expected from the former Karigakure no Kijin. Guy commented but was interrupted by Domon. To be fair, they haven't realized that they don't really need to defeat the Guardian to get the scroll. Naruto-sama has put up multiple failsafes. What do you mean, Kanjiki? Asuma asked with confusion as Kakashi's eye widened further in realization as he chuckled. What's so funny, Kakashi? Simple, Asuma, I just found out the easiest way to defeat the Guardian. After a few moments, when the rest of the Konoha Jonin realized that Kakashi wasn't about to say anything, Kurenai asked, care to elaborate for us? Just watch and you will see that Naruto hasn't lost his talent for pranks. Kakashi's eye was glowing with amusement. There must be an easier way, Shikamaru said as he killed another killer plant when the pedestal caught his eye. Looking up, he saw that Ino was down to 3 knives as the rest had shattered for the repeated impact with stronger than steel wood. Ino was dodging swipes from the bird's razor-sharp, wind-enhanced talons. Looking toward Choji, Shikamaru saw that his big bone friend was having quite the time destroying the plants. Small shard of rock floating around him as the sharp edges shredded the vines and plants like confetti. Then Shikamaru saw the barrier was glowing with a faint translucence. It can't be that simple, could it? Bah. This is Naruto we are talking about. He would leave a simple solution that no one would even think about. Shika! Ino screamed as she crashed into the distracted Nara air, deep gashes on her right forearm. Shikamaru and Ino quickly untangled their limbs from the sudden crash and looked up to see that the bird had launched a massive wave of feathers at them. Shikamaru's eyes widened in shock. There was no way either of them would be able to dodge that massive wave. The only way to survive would be to either block or redirect them. Unfortunately for them, none of them had any technique to do that. Only Choji had the slightest chance, but as the feathers tended to transform into man-eating, toxic sludge-spewing, tentacle monstrosities, even that was a pipe dream. There was too much of a chance that the feathers would sprout around the dome and slowly choke them to death while they struggled helplessly like a fly caught in a spider's web. Choji had just finished the last of the deadly plants and turned to see that Shikamaru and Ino was about to get impaled by the literal rain of death. He saw Shikamaru close his eyes in resignation. He saw Ino glare up at the wooded bird with defiance as the gashes on her right forearm gushed the crimson life-giving fluid, staining the girl's clothes with dark splotches. Without a second thought, Choji jumped in front of his friends as they were about to be impaled. Ino saw Choji take a defensive position in front of her and Shika, causing the girl to gasp in realization. Time seemed to slow down as the wooden feathers came closer to end the life of her friend. The very thought of losing a friend broke something within the Yamanaka heirs. Something that was holding back her true power. Before anyone knew what happened, Ino let out a massive, defiant scream as she seemed to teleport directly in front of the wave of wooden feather. Ino raised her hands and pointed the palms to the approaching wave, all the while screaming. The screaming caused Shikamaru to open his eyes and watch in shock, along with Choji, as a translucent ripple of power erupted from Ino and flew towards the wooden feathers. As the feathers struck the advancing ripple of power, they seemed to completely shatter into harmless dust. The bird was diving behind the wave of feathers, so was unable to dodge the ripple Ino had generated. A barrier formed around the bird that fought the ripple for a moment before it shattered. Shikamaru and Choji thought that the bird was done for, when the ripple suddenly disappeared. At the same time, Ino stopped screaming, her eyes rolling up into her head, as she collapsed from the strain for generating the ripple of telekinetic force. Shikamaru nodded towards Choji, causing the Akimichi heir to rush forward and picked up Ino before rushing towards the edge of the clearing. Shikamaru looked up and saw that the bird was heavily damaged and was thrown back from the destructive force. Taking the opportunity, he rushed towards the pedestal and picked up the scroll before running towards where Choji was tending to Ino wounds. An angry screech causing Shikamaru to roll forward as the bird's talons swiped through the place his head previously occupied. Without even thinking, Shikamaru tried and took control of the water in the wooden bird before bending it, causing the bird to crash into the ground. Not wasting time, the Nara heir ran towards Choji, who was carrying Ino in his arms. Without even speaking, Shikamaru ran towards the barrier with a confused Choji behind him. "Shika, what about the bird? We can't leave until we have defeated it, remember?" Choji asked with confusion as they reached the barrier. Shikamaru didn't answer as he raised the scroll and placed it on the barrier, causing it to flash before fading from existence. Choji make a great impersonation of a fish at the event before turning to the bird to see it fly up and merge with a large tree. Seeing Choji's dumbfounded expression, Shikamaru explained, "We misunderstood. Defeat doesn't necessarily mean beaten. The bird was the guardian of the scroll. If we are able to take it out of the barrier, then we have defeated it, by making it fail its purpose. It was so simple, yet I didn't see it until it was too late and Ino had to suffer the consequences." Choji nodded in understanding as he placed Ino on the ground and took out an antiseptic ointment and bandages from his tools pouch and proceeded to attend the gashes on Ino's right forearm. As he bandaged Ino's arm, Choji said, "Don't beat yourself up, Shika. At least we made it out alive." Shikamaru didn't answer, but nodded just the same as he then focused his attention to the grass at his feet. Thinking back to what happened with the bird, Shikamaru frowned before he tried to bend the water in the grass. To his surprise, he saw the blades move in the direction he directed them. Getting bolder, Shikamaru tried to draw the water out of the plants, and to his surprise, the grass quickly dried up, getting brown before crumbling away as water was extracted from them. Above the suddenly bare patch of earth, a ball of pure water floated, causing Shikamaru to smirk in satisfaction before he let the water splash onto the bare earth. "Shouldn't we be searching for Uchiha Sasuke? Kukaku. Suntaji-kun. We just need to get a couple of scrolls. I plan on using that to tempt Team 7. The woman said with a creepy smile, causing her teammate to nod in understanding, but if one concentrated, they would see that the man was afraid. "Ma'am, the scroll is being guarded by a snake summons," her other teammate said as they reached the clearing holding the scroll. The scroll was blue in color, placed atop a marble pedestal. The pedestal was carved with glowing seals. From the design, the woman concluded that it was made by Uzumaki seal masters. She wasn't looking forward to breaking them. Finally, the pedestal was being guarded by a large black snake with yellow stripes. "Come out, Orochimaru. I know you are there." The snake hissed out as it raised its head to look at the trio of shinobi. "Arata-kun. How are you doing?" the woman greeted with a smile as she and her teammates jumped down into the clearing. "Silence, traitor. By decree of Hakuja-sama, you are to be executed." Orochimaru was easily able to dodge the quick as lightning strike from Arata, but his two teammates weren't as lucky. One of them was swallowed alive by Arata while the other was scratched by one of the venomous fangs. Orochimaru clicked his tongue in annoyance as he saw his other teammate succumb to the neurotoxin Arata was famous for. Even with the amount of bodily modifications he had done and his high resistance to poisons and toxins of all kinds, Orochimaru knew that Arata's venom would probably not kill him, but put him out of commission, leaving him vulnerable. "Where is your courage, traitor? Or are you preparing to run with your tail tucked between your legs like the cur you are?" Arata hissed out with an amused glint in his yellow eyes. Orochimaru glared at the snake before he regurgitated an ornate sword. Taking a kendo stance, Orochimaru was preparing to attack when he felt vibrations below his feet. Without conscious thought, the snake of a man rolled to the side just as a mud beast erupted from the dirt. It looked like a large snake-like creature. Its whole body was carved with glowing seals, while a large glowing red crystal was embedded on its forehead. Arata chuckled and hissed out, "Have fun with the mud golem Naruto-sama and his clansmen created. You are some of the firsts to see the first line of defenses for Uzu against invaders." Orochimaru didn't have time to comment as he had to dodge a strike from Mud Golem, but not before carving a large mass of mud out of the beast's neck. Orochimaru looked up to see the creature easily regenerate the damage by absorbing more earth from the ground. The golem opened its mouth and from the gaping maw, Naruto's voice emanated. "Hey Orochimaru. How is the Class 3 Adaptoid Golem performing? I hope to your dissatisfaction. Have fun, and make sure to keep an eye out. Don't know what can happen. It is a prototype after all. Prototypes tend to go awry after all." Sweat started forming on Orochimaru's forehead. This situation had become more dangerous than he realized. Not only was Arata here, now he had the attention of Uzumaki Naruto as well. He needed to get out of here as soon as he could, or his death would be imminent. Orochimaru made some hand seals and placed his hands in front of his mouth as he breathed out a massive plume of fire that took the form of a dragon. The golem didn't even flinch as the intense flames washed over its semi-liquid body, hardening the dark mud to reddish-brown burnt clay. Orochimaru smirked at finally causing damage to the golem, and from the sound of shattering burnt clay and the cracks all over the body of the creature, it seemed that he had found a way to finally combat the creature. Orochimaru started channeling chakra into his sword when his instincts told him of an approaching attack from the back. Without hesitation, Orochimaru rolled to the right, while twisting and slashing at the attacker. To his surprise, it was a smaller mud golem in the shape and size of a large wolf. On its forehead was a shard of glowing red crystal. Orochimaru watched in shock and awe as the wolf was bisected in half, but quickly regenerated itself by absorbing more mud from the ground. Orochimaru cursed at the predicament as he dodged a pounce from the wolf only to be sent into a tree from a tail strike from Murata. Coughing up blood, Orochimaru glared up at the snake only to use a Kawarimi to dodge an attack from the main golem. As soon as Orochimaru reappeared on the treetop, he decided that retreat was a better part of valor and turned to leave. Right before he left, he looked over his shoulder to see a very strange sight. The snake golem dropped multiple globs of mud onto the ground while itself transformed into a massive wolf. The globs of mud bubbled for a few moments before they transformed into smaller wolves. The strange thing was that each and every one of them had glowing red crystal shards embedded into its head. "Run all you want, traitor, but the golem and his pack will hunt you down like the sniveling rat you are," Arata hissed as he settled back down to guard the scroll. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.